Welcome in. Episode 136, I think 136 straight days here of Clippers Talk for you. I'm Adam Osland. Like, subscribe, save, hit the alarm notification thing. We got a good show for you today because it's not just me here solo. We're going to start things off with La Murray from The Athletic. Follow him at La Murray, the NU. I am the law. He's up in San Francisco. He's been covering the All-Star weekend. So I got to pick his brain about all the festivities going on and what occurred. Law, thanks for doing this.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Has there been too much criticism on the All-Star game the day after?
It depends on how much you're looking at, man.
You're seeing it. You're seeing it.
I'm in it. You know, I was in the building on site in both ends of the bay. East Bay and whatever they call San Francisco.
Oh, give me that East Bay magazine. Take me back to 1997, please.
Man, rest in peace, like the rest of the sports franchises that used to be in Oakland. Not even the rest, all of them.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing. Like, it was my first time at what was formerly Oracle Arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was covering the NBA, but not at the level where I was able to visit that arena, before the team relocated to Chase in 2019. And so to actually get a chance to see, not just, or now it's called Oakland Arena. I can't even really call it Oracle. That's a past name. That's a relic too. But that was the first time I was in that building. It was the first time I walked around the Coliseum, like that was, for me, that was cool. Like, I love that moment for myself, and Steph Curry, he loved that moment for him. And he has said multiple times he wants a regular season game at that arena in Oakland. I thought I thought it was a great celebration of the Bay Area, or at least a great attempt to have a celebration. I'm not going to speak for people who are actually from Oakland, from the Bay. So I mean, to be here and to experience it, I don't want to be too cynical. You know what I mean?
I get it.
I don't want to, like, because that's what All Star is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a celebration of the game more than a referendum of it. And at the same time, we have gotten to a place where the complaints are built in going into the weekend. I
Yeah.
wasn't excited about the fact that there was tournament style All Star game, and the horrible All Star results of especially the last few years, but really it's a culture of it, a generation of it, has led to this point. I remember in 2020 where people got up for that All Star game because of the first time that you were getting a quote unquote Kobe Bryant trophy and all that, and it's like, yeah, like you had to have that energy because in the years preceding it, you had terrible All Star games, low energy, and there was more to write about the spectacle of who might change teams and who was fraternized or whatever than the actual basketball itself. My first All Star game after ESPN hired me in 2017 to be an editor, the biggest story coming out of that one was DeMarcus Cousins literally getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans as soon as the game was over. That's why the trade deadline has got moved up a week to avoid situations like that, where a guy he can't even get his uniform off before he finds out that the only franchise he ever knew was trading him away right before giving him a contract extension. So,
So let me ask you, Law, do you believe that over time, in general, overall, the All-Star game has deteriorated? Where we've had good ones, we've had bad ones, even back in the 80s and the 90s, but over time, it's gotten worse slowly?
Yeah. And I don't think that's just an NBA thing. Yeah, I think that's John Hollinger, I think, has written about this. I think, look at every All-Star game. They've all they all have declined to a certain extent. I know people are going to bring up the hockey thing, but my counter to that is it's hockey. No disrespect.
Built different.
Yeah, no disrespect. So, like, you have a game in basketball where your warts are laid out a whole lot more than any other sport because scoring is easier. That's just what it is. You know, you remember all the points in football, like it's a big deal, but you also can do a whole bunch of other stuff during a football game without watching the football. So the Pro Bowl's always been pretty bad. It's always been pretty bad. People will cite Sean Taylor blowing up Brian Moorman in a Pro Bowl to be like, remember what the Pro Bowl used to be? It's like it sucked then too, goddamn. Like so
Yeah.
all of these all-star games are different because back when we were growing up, like you didn't always see these guys play on the same team or interacting even. You know, you like our state of media, our social media, what we were calling social media, was totally different. So these All Star games, the fact that you could put them on TV, they meant something a little bit more because of the rarity of it. Like you didn't have NBA TV, you know, you didn't have League Pass. So in other words, you didn't have the opportunity to skip out on a bunch of games because you only got maybe one national TV game a week. You know,
Yeah.
when I got into the game in the '90s, you didn't even have NBC airing games until after Christmas. That's so like there's a lot more out there. There's a lot more to miss, and I think people hate that fact. There's so much fear of missing out, and people want to talk about stuff all the time that there's just so much out there. So the All Star game is smaller because the space that we have to talk about everything else is bigger. It's the same thing with transactions in the NBA because there's so much to talk about with what you can have as a take or what does it mean or just so many different ways to slice the actual transaction itself. That takes up more of our basketball conversation than the games themselves. And so that's just a reality of it. Now, the other part of it is the generation that we have right now, they're just the victims of it. I mean, again, I remember Kobe Bryant imploring guys to play hard in 2011 when the All Star game was in Los Angeles then, you know, blocking LeBron, and LeBron ain't want to go at him. And I'm not even a Kobe Bryant fan, like far from it, as a matter of fact. But like Kobe had energy for the All Star game that other guys didn't, and that was an issue 15 years ago. So
Right.
I don't want to hear any of this stuff about the OGs, being the victims of anything. If anything, they're a big reason why the All Star culture has changed, and so I'm I'm not even sure if I'm qualified to talk about it that much because I haven't been covering All Star on this level except for the last few years, and I've seen some of the worst that All Star has to offer. But I've also been tired. You go to All Star weekend, and you're almost under pressure to be involved in a whole lot of stuff that is just not natural. What party do I go to? What star do I tag along with? Do I want to be in this IG caption? It's a lot of stuff, and it's meant to celebrate the game, but it's also a good way to clout chase. So yeah,
Yeah. I want to ask you then about this. Is this a fair characterization of this past weekend? To me, it felt like the players actually were giving a better effort out there, but the way they formatted it, and with all the long timeouts, the intermissions, the gimmicks going on, it obscured basketball to a point where we had 33 minutes, I think, of game action versus, 2.5 hours of the rest of the programming going on. Like they lost the plot. They're there to celebrate basketball, and in the end, basketball was way in the background.
the worst part of of Sunday, because I actually thought Sunday got off to a good start with the two semifinal games,
Yeah.
and you had a break between game two and the final game, game three, right? But
TNT.
then it was an 11-1 start, and then that's when you had the handover from San Francisco to Clippers LA. And then after that, they did the TNT tribute. And then after that, because it's a TV product, they had to go to commercial, and then they brought the players back in. None of the previous 5 games had a margin of more than 12 points. I don't even think there was a single double-digit margin in the first 2 games Sunday, but there was already one before all that stuff went on. And I'm not sure the players were expecting that, and the energy was out the gym. by the time they restarted the game. It was basically like having a halftime after the first break in the game. And think about it. In an NBA game, there's a mandatory timeout if it's a dead ball after the 7-minute mark of the first quarter and neither team had taken a timeout by then. And even in a national TV game, I think that timeout break is 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes tops, something like that. That break was like between 10 to 15 minutes. Like, it's not natural. So guys just didn't get the juice to get up and compete anymore after that. After that, it was like, whatever. We know Steph's team is going to win and Steph's going to get the MVP. So the TV product definitely had a lot more to do with the lack of whatever you saw out there than the players. The players were, I'll tell you what, Kevin Durant didn't want to lose to the Rising Stars team. He was in the referee's face. He was playing hard, playing defense, getting upset about fouls that weren't called because the referees aren't conditioned to call fouls in the All-Star game. Yeah, I saw guys care. There was a care factor. There was defense. Like, I saw Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander flying out, blocking jump shots in an All-Star game. Like, don't tell me that these guys aren't capable of, putting that extra into an All-Star game. Like, I saw a lot of good stuff from the players. I didn't see as much support from the structure and the programming of the event.
Yeah. The way it was produced and packaged was not to the benefit of basketball and celebrating it. So I got 2 more questions for you. Ultimately, do you think they keep this format and just tinker with it some, or do they completely scrap it for next year and into a dome?
That's a tough one, because I think the biggest factor in this is TNT's not going to be the broadcast partner next year for the first time in a very long time. It's going to be an NBC production, and I hope NBC took a lot of notes. I know they had people there. I hope they took notes about what the people might want to see. And the big hint, this is such an easy fix. The big hint is feature the basketball and the basketball players. And
Ta-da!
therefore, I don't anticipate the NBA changing, because I think the NBA does a disservice with all kinds of year by year changes. We've had that, we've had, I want to say, 3 or 4 different versions of the All-Star game since 2018. Introducing target scores, introducing, hey, we're going back to this format, East West, and then change it back again. And I think that the format wasn't the worst part about it. I'm not a fan of the format. I think it sucks that, horrible All-Star games have led to us organically shortening how much basketball you wind up getting anyway. That being said, I think that the change is already in. The change is going to be, it's going to be a whole new broadcast partner next year. So I don't anticipate the tournament style going away, at least for next year.
LeBron James bows out about an hour beforehand. Do you think he knew going into the weekend he wasn't going to play? And do you believe he told the NBA ahead of time and they said, all right, let's keep this under wraps because we're promoting you in the game and we don't want to lose buzz heading into Sunday?
It's all disappointing. I'm not really going to get into what LeBron was feeling or didn't feel. I mean, who knows? Maybe he doesn't play one of those back-to-backs that they have Wednesday, Thursday. The Lakers are the first team to host an NBA game, and they're doing it in a day that is supposed to be a break day. There's never games on Wednesday after All-Star break, but because of the wildfires, there is. I mean, we saw them play horribly in Utah Wednesday night before the All-Star break. So I'm not sure when LeBron was seriously going to bow out. It's obviously disappointing because that spot could have gone to a number of players. Norman Powell's on everybody's mind. Anthony Edwards didn't play. He got introduced. You know what I'm saying? And never
Nobody
took his
knew.
warm up
Nobody
off.
knew.
I don't think he was even on the bench when his team lost the first game Sunday. I noticed, I'm like, where's Ant? Where's Ant? Like, people want to see Anthony Edwards playing this, but Anthony Edwards has made it very clear about how he feels about All-Star. Like, he's like, yeah, you're exhausted by the time the game starts. And he just, it was like, I'm not going to lose much by not playing. It's a horrible look, but Anthony Edwards is going to go back to doing what Anthony Edwards does, which is You talk about guys not playing. Anthony Edwards is a dude who always suits up and plays for his team. I will give a lot of credit for that. And so it's disappointing. And who knows?
Could Norm have been the next guy up there? Like if
Of
LeBron knows he's
course,
not playing like 2 days before, but the league doesn't want to announce that, they still could have told Norm, "Hey, get ready for Sunday. We're gonna have a surprise for you." Like they could have done something there.
of course. And again, like LeBron didn't even do media until Sunday, which was the arrangement he had last year. I think he might have even had that arrangement the year before, if I recall correctly. And LeBron either wound up playing or wound up playing a little bit. Like you know, LeBron has had a special arrangement with the NBA as far as how he was handling All-Star Weekend, even the past year or two. And so we can argue this and debate who should have been there, when LeBron knew, when LeBron should have known, how the NBA should have handled it. Um, at this point, I'm super over it. Like, and I honestly think that the guys who could have gotten a chance, I think they're over it too. So that's where I'm at on it.
What was the best part of the weekend? Mac McClung?
I mean, my personal best part was hooping, to be honest with you.
Did you cross anybody up?
Listen, man, like All-Star in LA, I've already had people, let me know. I'm actually kind of mad at Tomer because he's the one person I told to come hoop and he didn't come. So
Well,
I
if you
got a
wait a
bone.
couple of minutes, we can confront him together about this.
Yeah, let's do that because I got a bone to pick with Tomer. But I will say, um, I'm excited for next year, man. I hope that we can get a real series of runs. Like I love the fact that we got some media people who are trying to hoop and whatnot. And I saw Jalen Brunson post on Twitter about uh, facilitating a Knicks Twitter game. It's like, I that's the energy that I like. No, you brought up Mac McClung, the dunk contest and all, and you know what? I appreciate Mac McClung a lot because that dude didn't have to come through. He had some new creative things. He really risked his body
Oh
and
my
risked
god.
just just being out there, and he was great. But I appreciate Stephon Castle as well. I went into that dunk contest as cynical as anything. I hated that Vince Carter was being put on this pedestal. Not that Vince didn't deserve it. It's just that I think it's a disservice to the current dunkers to remind everybody in the arena the level they haven't quite been at over the last several years or whatever you want to call it. But Steph Castle and Mac McClung, they actually did a great job putting on a show. Like as good as Mac was, Steph needed to be, he needed to approach that level so that Mac could exceed and be at the level that he was at. And I thought that was great. It changed my mindset on what the dunk contest is about. I think Jason Jones wrote a great column for us at the Athletic about it. So I thought that was a good moment. There's nothing that happened this weekend. I want to be very crystal clear. There's nothing that happened this weekend that should be a singular. Oh, this is the best part of us. Like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But there were a lot of good moments, and I thought the dunk contest was actually one of them, despite again the programming conspiring to make it really hard on people.
Where were you when Wemby and CP3 were just making a mockery of the skills contest there?
Man, I was actually in the bowels of the arena, and I heard the groans and the complaints and everything. I'm up here really just trying to get through all that mixed zone, all the media down in beneath the arena, and it's the most classic Chris Paul thing ever. Like
Looking for an
I hate
advantage.
this. I hate the skills challenge with a passion. I don't like things being canceled. Well, I never liked the skills challenge. And the day that the skills challenge is replaced by like a one-on-one challenge or something else. I mean,
You
look, I used to hate the shooting stars challenge. I thought that was the goofiest thing ever. So I'm glad that that's gone for the people who remember that. But I hate the skills challenge. It's just another event to take up time on the television and to sell some ads. So, yeah.
I liked it back in the day when it was kind of standardized and you had Wade and Kobe and LeBron in it and Steve Nash and stars who really wanted to compete in it. You could kind of compare years because they were doing the same obstacle course. I honestly did like it back then. But do you really think guys who won't participate in a dunk contest will do a one-on-one tournament there? Like, I would love it, but is that really going to happen?
I don't know, man. It depends on who the one-on-one guys are.
You think
Everyone
of
wants
enough money is put out there?
stylistic diversity challenge. That's what it's going to be.
I don't know. I would love to see it. I just have my doubts. Even Giannis going after John Morant commented on Twitter about Mac McClung's going to get me into the dunk contest.
They're
Then
all
Giannis,
they're all full of it. They're
right?
all full of it. They're all doing it because they're excited watching what we saw on TV, and they want to have their names in the conversation. Like Giannis didn't even own up to tweeting that. He said that one of his kids hacked his account. So that didn't even last 24 hours. Okay, John Morant's the same dude that says he's not dunking in games, and then he goes and dunks sometime later. No. I am tired of guys telling us what they will do, what they could have done. Like, shout out to Jaylen Brown. That dude actually competed and didn't look great in a dunk contest last year. Like, no, like it. Don't tell me what you could have done in the past or what you will do next year. I don't believe you, and you need more people.
Do you think LeBron led to the downfall of the dunk contest, him not competing? Because I'm old enough to remember when they took it out for a year or two after Kobe won anyways, and it already lost its luster in the late 90s.
Yeah, and people don't talk about that. People don't talk about the fact that a lot of these complaints about the game is cyclical. Like, if you're going to complain about the game, just keep the same energy. We were like some of us grew up and was like, y'all took away the dunk contest because, mind you, Kobe Bryant winning it was great for Kobe Bryant's resume, but Kobe also won it. First of all, he won it as a rookie, so it's not even Kobe's fault, but he won it and I felt like a completely forgettable contest. I mean,
Yes.
do you remember anything Darvin Ham did in 1997?
I remember Ray Allen in it. I remember AI was supposed to be in it, which would have been interesting. Young Allen Iverson jumping a short guy like that. That would have been fun. But no, it wasn't a great dunk contest.
Nah, like that was the dunk contest. Kobe Bryant won the dunk contest that killed the dunk contest. Like they didn't bring it back until 2000. That was the biggest thing about Vince doing it in 2000. You didn't hear a lot of that. They killed the dunk contest. Okay, they weren't going to have it in 1999. Just that there was a lockout, so they didn't have All Star at all. So that's the other part about it.
Yeah.
The NBA lockout took away, an entire All Star weekend, and that sucked. That was going to be in my city. That was going to be in Philadelphia, and I would have been excited for that, even though I had zero chance of doing anything there. Like I didn't grow up going to basketball games. I didn't grow up going to the arena in Philadelphia. So, like, even the fact that it was in my city, that would have been great. And they didn't have it because of the damn lockout. By the time they did have it, all I remember about the All-Star game in Philadelphia in what was that, 2002, is them booing Kobe. Ironically enough. Guess what? I wasn't around anything. NBA experience, nothing. I was 15 that year. So that's the thing. We do this all the time. We complain about things as if there is the first time anyone's ever complained about something. Every generation. The 70s almost killed the NBA. The 80s, they had people complaining about stuff in the 80s. The 90s, I remember they did stuff to the three-point line. And guess what? It didn't work, Adam. It didn't work. Hey, I got an idea. We have a problem with not enough points being scored in the NBA. Let's move the three-point line up. Oh, shoot. It turns out that kills spacing. So if you move the three-point line back, guess what? You're going to have a bunch of dudes who ain't going to take threes anymore because they can't make those shots. So it's just going to be the same game, even more extreme. You're just not going to have guys taking threes. They're not going to take mid-range either. Everyone's just going to try and go to the paint. But we don't talk about that because a lot of people just think about, what can I complain about to get some engagement on social media? and they're going to get that engagement whether something's done or not. So I guess they're the ones who caught the game.
So you agree with what Kevin Durant maybe tweeted out earlier today, where he ended up saying, I think it's more fun to complain about the NBA than to actually watch it. Crazy. Cancel All-Star Weekend and let's just give everybody a break since we're so miserable around this time. Because that resonated with me.
One of my favorite parts of Sunday night was watching how thoroughly annoyed Kevin Durant was as the night went on. And it didn't just start with him playing harder. Like, Kevin Durant is literally standing around waiting for these dudes to wrap up the ceremonial stuff. Like, he was ticked. Almost like, so yeah, he wakes up, he sleeps on it, and then he says what he had to say Monday morning. That embed is definitely going to be in my power rankings unless my editors decide to take it out. So yeah, I feel where KD's coming from for sure.
That's what was funny, though. The guys were finally like, let's go, let's play, let's compete, check ball. And meanwhile, SGA's got to wait for Kevin Hart to finish trying to roast him, and it wasn't that good. And he's like, let's go, wrap it up, B. Like, let's play.
Yeah.
The one time the guys, well, not the one time, but over the last couple of years, bad all-star competitions, and this time they were actually playing well, and the format and everything else, the presentation got in the way. Let's see if we have this guy, because as we transition to Law from being up in NorCal, still in San Francisco, to our next guest, Law Murray actually has a bone to pick with him. Law, this is your life. It's Tomer Azarly.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Did you big time Law at the All-Star game, Tomer?
No, man. You can't expect someone to wake up on a Sunday morning to go hoop after All-Star weekend. I apologize. I really wanted to. I looked at my phone at 7:30 and I said, I'm sorry, Law, it ain't happening.
See, I should have been his alarm at 7 a.m. That's what it was, man, because I feel bad because that was the last time Tomer saw me. He asked me, we're both waiting for James to come to the podium, and he asked me, and I'm like, Tomer, I'm not having this conversation with you right now, especially because I played well Sunday morning. That's the other thing about it. I played well. I was like, God damn it, Tomer. I don't like talking about stuff when I play well. Like if I played poorly, I would have been like, man, it was cool. I'm just happy to be there. But nah, like I was actually cooking with gas.
So Law was cooking and I wasn't there to witness it. I apologize. I heard you were rocking out though. I heard that you had the 3-ball going though. I will say that.
Oh, do you have another steal on Justin Bieber or something?
Man, Justin Bieber this was not a Justin Bieber event, damn it. This was I do what you do event. You know what I'm saying? Justin Bieber got Grammys. I ain't got Grammys, bro.
No, I owe Law one. I owe Law one.
You definitely owe me one, and we gotta figure it out when we get back home.
I apologize. That's on me. That's on me. I knew it as soon as I hit 7:30. I was like, bro, I'm gonna be wobbling out there. I can't do this to Law. I'd rather no show than just give Law like a wobbly ass Tomer.
And the thing about it is, it's like I would have helped him. It's like I would have had him on my team. We talk hoop all the time, so like the chemistry would have been great. I would have been like, I don't give a shit how washed you are. Set the screen and be where I need you to be. Damn it, that's all I needed.
It wasn't even a wash thing, man. It was. I had a lot of fun on Saturday night thing, and I wasn't ready to go out there and set screens and
see my phone dry as hell. You know, I wasn't doing shit on Saturday night.
Well, see,
my life was off. My IG story was the TV screen, bro.
Yeah. No. I'm happy you guys were able to ball though, but no, I wanted to. I planned on it, and then Saturday escalated to 1, 2 a.m. a little bit, 3 a.m. and I was like, you know what? It's just not gonna happen. But next time, I do have you next time, 100%.
You heard it here first.
Tomer, he was going to be setting you up like Magic had Bird in Team USA, where Bird just calling for the ball in the 10 minutes he played in the entire tournament and finds it right at the top of the key.
No, you know what? I've seen a little bit of Law shooting. Again, it's maybe just like a standstill shooting, but I've heard Law's got that 3-ball down. I would have just been diming up in the corners of the wings. I don't think we need to do much more than that.
All right, fair
There's
enough.
a sniper right there.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of it. Next time, bring some smelling salts. So no matter how much you party Saturday night, you'll be ready to go on Sunday.
Tomorrow gonna be looking like Weekend at Bernie's. We're gonna stash the uniform, stash one of them Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle headbands on you. Nobody need to know what your status is.
Honestly, yeah, you give me a pair of sunglasses, yeah, because I picked up my head at 7:30. I looked up, and the room kind of spun with me for a second. I was like, no. Wait a minute here.
Well, Law, I don't want to keep you much longer. I know I've already kept you too long, probably.
Hey, I'm still in Chinatown. I'm
Are
gonna
you
figure
still
out
up there?
which. Hell yeah, this is my load management, but you know.
Okay. Well, hopefully
Like
not.
I said, I'm gonna find one of these, one of these Chinatown restaurants. I had a good one for lunch. We're gonna get on that, and that'll be that.
I hear there's
All
a good
right.
ramen spot not far from our area. So if you want to hit that one up.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hit the Yelp, find the 5-star restaurant, hit it up. Oh, if you want to stay, all good.
Oh, I've done what I needed to do.
Okay. You
yeah.
check Tomer.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do. He just stayed here for me.
It wasn't a check. Like I said, Tomer and I have not hooped yet, and the Clippers beat is not known for hooping, and we have a year to change that. So I need to make sure the accountability is where it needs to be. So
I'm expecting a huge montage video of Tomer training, like from Cobra Kai or something, to get ready for this basketball game and into a dome.
Look, Adam, I know you see me on the gram. I've been trying to hold myself accountable and be in the gym. So, like, you know, I'm hoping to get there to a point where I don't have to let Law down. I can set some good screens, hit him with a couple dimes in the corners. You know, I'm just not trying. He's right though. The Clippers beat is not known for balling, so we gotta change that a little bit. The closest we've been to balling, I think, was like what? Maybe like at a shoot around or in Summerlin. We put some shots up before. I think that was pretty much it. Together, anyways.
Yeah. Like I said, we got All Stars. All Stars is a Inglewood 2026 thing, and we need to make sure that we represent accordingly. That's all I'm going to say about that.
It's going to be like that Mountain Dew Code Red C Web T-Mac commercial back in the day with you two guys. I can see it now. As real as the streets. Tomer and Law Murray killing it out there right in front of Into a Dome.
That's right.
Law, thanks so much for doing this from San Francisco. Appreciate you. Go find, as Eddie Lacy would say, that China food.
Oh, man. We out.
Be good.
Peace. Safe travels, bro.
Tomer Azarly is our guest from Clutch Points, as he's already been roasted like we're trying to be Kevin Hart the All-Star game, although I think we probably did a better job than he did. Tomer, thanks for doing this here on Clippers Talk.
No, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm just got home right now. Surprised Law's still over there, but yeah, man. It's a fun weekend off the court, on the court. Still some work to do, but it was all right.
So I asked Law this. Are we overreacting to how bad it was, or was it that bad being there in person?
So I'll be honest with you. The way this kind of format works. So like when you're trying to get interviews, it's tournament style. So the team that loses goes to do interviews right after that game. So while the second game is about to tip off and is tipping off, we're getting interviews from the guys who just lost. And so like that's how the dunk contest works. Like as soon as the skills challenge is done, they go do interviews while the 3-point contest is going on. And then once they do interviews, each one is a limit. Like once the first round of that is done, like Norman, those guys are doing interviews as the champion is about to be crowned. So like, it was very hectic. We're like very focused on getting interviews. The dunk contest was by far, I think, the highlight of the weekend. Mac McClung and Stephon Castle put on an absolute show.
They did.
That was very fun to watch. I didn't like some of the takes about Mac McClung and maybe some people saying that like he wasn't an NBA player, or like we should bring back the actual stars. Like if the stars aren't going to do it, that's one thing, but that shouldn't take away from Mac and the absolute show that he put on. Like the catch off the backboard, whatever that was, and spinning halfway, the jump over the car, the rim tap. Like you're asking a guy to come in there 3 years in a row. So basically 12 dunks, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 12 dunks. Come up with 12 new dunks.
And he hasn't had less than a 49 before. On all of them, I think. He's never had less than a 49.
I mean, respect Mac McClung. Like, seriously, there should be nothing negative or bad said about him. He was he's dominant. And Stephon Castle also, I think, had a very, very good case to win that dunk contest. So, I think if the guys are going to show up, and those are the guys that are going to do it, and they put on a show like that, I don't really think we can take much away. But going back to your original question, yeah, it was kind of brutal. It felt like there wasn't really much basketball. I mean, typically all-star games finish at 170 to 180 points, more or less. So I thought each tournament game should have had a target score of 60. I think because we see NBA teams score 40 regularly in the quarter nowadays. 40 is nothing. Now you're putting all the stars on one team and saying go score 40. That's going to be done quickly. That's just way too little. Way too few points. So I thought 60 was good. Even 50 might have been a little better, but I think 60 because of how talented these guys are. I don't know if they intended it to be this way, but clearly there was just a heavy focus on maybe the TNT crew and some of the commercial and the extracurriculars around the actual game itself, or the games themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was by design. It appeared to be that way. But no, there's just the basketball just wasn't a big focus. I think a lot of players, some of them tried to kind of, I was done the whole time talking to them. They were kind of trying to hide their maybe discontent with the format. But some of them didn't do a good job. Just straight up said, we didn't like it. Like, we need East-West. We should get USA versus World. But
did you talk to Tatum and Trae Young? Because they were pretty outspoken.
Yeah, so I did talk to Trae Young. I did ask him about that. And he seems pretty adamant that East versus West is the way to do it and the way you solve. I asked him, you seem to have an idea. What's the best way to solve that period? And he just said, the winners get everything from the player pool, whatever, and the losers get nothing. And you also can't make players play hard. If they're going to play hard, I think Wemby said this. You can't make guys play hard. Was it Wemby? No, it was Giannis. Giannis who said this. You can't make players play hard. If they're going to go out there, it's kind of on them at that point. And so I think for a lot of people, it was disappointing. Honestly, another highlight was probably that Mr. Beast tournament with Damian Lillard, with the kid hit a half-court shot and won $100,000 at the buzzer.
Once he got it, it worked, but it took a while.
I mean, yeah, look, I don't think the buzzer was going to be like I wasn't out there for the whole thing, so I didn't really see. Was it capped at a buzzer, a certain time frame that he had to hit it by?
I think they had a running clock. He had to hit one from logo Lillard range before Lillard hit 3. And once he noticed the kid was way off to start, I think Dame was intentionally missing to give him more opportunities.
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
But he did hit it as the buzzer went off, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, again, good for I think it was an 18-year-old or 19-year-old kid who wants to go to college and help his family save money. Dude, that's fantastic. You couldn't ask for a better kind of person to win that, I guess you could say. I think he said his dad surprised him with the tickets last minute when the prices dropped to kind of what they wanted them to be or what they could afford. So, I mean, overall, I think, the games themselves just need to be a lot less, a lot fewer commercials, a lot fewer extracurriculars around it, and just go play basketball. Again, the target score should have been 60, in my opinion. At first I thought it should have been 50, but the more I think about it, 60 makes a lot more sense. You have 3 games of 60, that adds up to 180 points. That's about what an all-star game is.
Did you think the guys overall were playing harder out there compared to the last couple of years?
So I think last year was kind of just the only, the biggest aberration as far as playing hard. I don't think before that, I don't recall there being a significant issue. Again, there were issues with it. That's not to say there weren't, but it wasn't a make or break type thing. You'd still see some of the legends go out there and do their thing. I think, Tatum had a 50 ball a couple of years ago, whenever that was. Steph had 15 threes. It was still entertaining, but guys were definitely playing hard in this game. I think that it was felt, but it was just, again, 40 is just such a low target score with 8 guys or 7 guys on the team where you're playing probably 7 actual minutes of game time and then you're on the bench and then you're done. Jalen Brunson, for example, one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. So Jalen Brunson was on Team Kenny. His team lost first to, I believe, Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck beat Kenny to start.
Yeah, so Chuck beat Kenny's team. And because Chuck's team won, they advanced and they weren't doing any interviews. But Kenny's team was eliminated, so they went to do interviews right away. I kid you not, if you go back and watch Jalen Brunson's interview, I am the only person there. I walked into that room in a giant press conference room that had probably 120 seats or something. And I'm the only person there. And the guy who's moderating looks at me and he goes, well, I guess all you. So I start asking questions. Every time I'm asking a question, I'm looking to the left to see if I can continue. And I just letting me keep going. So I got like a 2-minute one-on-one essentially with Brunson. And that was his all-star weekend. He came here, he played like 10 minutes, if that, and that was it for him. That was very strange. Like this guy committed his whole weekend to come here. Obviously, his family was here, his child was here, but like that's it. 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're done. That just seems like a complete waste of my weekend, if I'm being honest. So I thought part of the all-star lure also was having 12 guys on the bench together where they're cracking each other up or making jokes and funny things during the timeouts. And when you're making it 6v6 or whatever, 8v8, whatever it was, and just you lost a lot of the actual connection that the funny moments you could have, the hot mics you can capture.
Yeah.
I thought you lost all of that. And
I thought it was a missed opportunity, Tomer, just to not have the GMs mic'd up when their teams are playing one another. You have Chuck versus Shaq's teams playing, mic them up.
Yeah, that's another major missed opportunity. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I get that they were trying different things, and I thought there's a path to making this work. I think it includes increasing the target score. I think you need way fewer commercials than what they had, and I think you need more actual interactions, like you just mentioned, the miking up the GMs, the inside the NBA guys, or more of the players. But there was just a complete lack of. It just felt very kind of corporate, for lack of a better way to say it. It just felt super focused on ads and different types of, I don't know, TNT. I don't know. It just wasn't the great product itself. The basketball itself was fine when it was played, but what did someone add up? That it was like 42 total minutes of actual basketball.
No.
3.5 hours.
33 minutes.
Yeah,
in a 3-hour show, and it was 33 minutes of basketball.
There's no excuse for that. It's embarrassing. That's awful. It's an awful product.
I agree with you. It felt corporate, while almost at the same time unprofessional and thrown together last minute. Kevin Hart just shows up. He's basically riffing and just trying to wing it. He didn't have much pre-planned stuff. He's trying to talk to Shea. Shea's not loving it. It's like, okay,
yeah,
we'll throw Kevin Hart out next to, Ernie, and now we'll get him next to Chuck, and these things that just weren't that well thought out or put together. The way they packaged it was so poorly done compared to what you would think for a production of that level.
Yeah, I also didn't even realize. It took me a second to realize that. So I believe Kevin Hart was audible. You could hear him throughout the entire arena instead of like, maybe the light music they might play or the when the announcer says someone scores. Like Kevin was just heard throughout the arena, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. He's hit and miss with me. Sometimes pretty good. Sometimes like whatever, dude. It's getting annoying.
Yeah, no, it was definitely brutal. Again, I think the idea wasn't really awful. I think there was something there. I think you just need to come back to the actual basketball part. They missed on that, unfortunately. The basketball part was just a major miss. I think we focused way too much on other things.
So, do you think they just stick with this format but make subtle tweaks, increase the target score, make it more about the basketball, not have a TNT ceremony during a game after your one team's up 11-1 and they basically have a halftime out of nowhere? Like, are there ways to salvage this for Into a Dome next season? Or they just scrap it and go back to East versus West or try Team USA versus the world?
My opinion on it, or what I think they will do?
I guess give me both. What do you think the most likely outcome is from the league, and what would you go with?
The league, I think, will probably continue to tinker with this. Like, you didn't make this drastic of a change to just get rid of it after 1 year, unless the reception was absolutely awful.
Well,
and I think it was, but I think a lot of it was more like again, the idea was kind of there. Like, the tournament style is not an awful idea as long as you have actual basketball being played. If you're going to 60, if you're having fewer commercial breaks, I think there is a path to making that work. Again, 60 is a much better target score as opposed to 40. Like 40, you guys get that in get hot and get that in the quarter in the NBA. So like, I think they should go back to East versus West. I just was not. I think it was just strange to see guys teamed up in those ways. To me, it just felt. What's the right word for it? I don't know. I don't know what the right word for it is. It just felt off. It just felt very weird. It felt very forced, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them maybe trying to go for it. And again, this might have just been like a 1 year kind of thing, send off for Chuck, Shaq, Kenny, and Ernie, depending on what ends up happening there. We know this is TNT's last year, hosting or being a network partner for the NBA. So.
Well, we do have to celebrate the guys who shit on the game the most.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's two parts to it. They obviously, I think from an entertainment factor, they've been great, but yeah, definitely from the actual basketball standpoint, not great. So, I think there's multiple ways to look at it, but I part of me does think it was just to be like a send off for them. It just felt like hey, you guys are going fishing. They gave them the lifeboats or the whatever, the little floaties and the fishing rods. So it felt like a send off for them. So that's another reason I could see them kind of going back towards East versus West or USA versus World or whatever. Just because it might have been like a 1 year kind of one off for those guys. But in my opinion, I just think you should go back to East versus West and you can continue to find ways to incentivize guys. Honestly, I think the newer generation, some of the newer all-stars are more incentivized. I think we've just seen a lot of the old heads, 20-time all-stars, 15-time all-stars. We've seen a lot of those guys. We're also, getting some of the guys who probably aren't as heavily involved or interested in those kind of extracurriculars, like a Nikola Jokic, he doesn't really care for media or those big lights or anything like that.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player. He's just not meant for that kind of stage. Like, I don't really think he cares for it, Whereas I think someone like a Jalen Williams would have a lot of fun with that. Victor Wembanyama was very actually upset when Şengün gave up that backdoor lob to Tatum at the end. So I think some of the newer guys definitely do care, and it might just be a case of kind of moving on from the old heads. And I'm not gonna say like Steph or Katie, like those guys definitely still go out there, play hard, put on a show.
I got an old head I want to talk about with you.
Okay, go ahead.
LeBron James. Did you have any inkling he was going to bow out an hour before? And do you think he told the league before the weekend started that he wasn't going to play or probably wasn't, and they kept it under wraps because they didn't want to put a damper on the weekend, knowing that, one of our biggest stars is going to be out?
I actually have to talk to some people. I don't know if the league actually knew. I don't think they did.
You think he sprung that on him like that? If that's the case, was he sending a message? Like, this format's beneath me?
I don't know if it was anything like that. Honestly, he's been dealing with ankle and foot issues for years. I think it was that Solomon Hill year where he rolled up on him. And sprained his ankle, and he's been dealing with that for a while. He's known for having back issues too that he has to manage over the course of the year.
I think he's legitimately hurt.
I genuinely think it was injury related. I don't think it was anything more than that. I also don't think he woke up Sunday morning and was like, "Oh, I don't think I can play."
Right.
It definitely wasn't a case of that. But also announcing that LeBron won't be playing in San Francisco means that the ticket prices probably plummet.
Exactly.
That's probably one of the three guys that people most wanted to see, and Steph and KD as well. So, I don't know that they actually knew. I really don't know if they did.
What would you guess? That LeBron really just said that an hour before and nobody else knew, and he'd do that to the league, or he told them, and they said hush hush.
So I looked around. I just tried my best to focus on the video that I got, but also look around the room. And the general sense I got was that everyone was shocked by that. Was not expecting that whatsoever.
Did you see Adam Silver in there with his mouth agape? Or
Adam was not in there, but there were some of the NBA people. This is just my interpretation of kind of what I saw. The entire room was kind of shocked. We're just like, wait, did he just say he's not playing? That's kind of the sense I got. Like, it was to the point where, like, I try to catch videos of everything, as much as I can. It was to the point where people were like rushing out to pull their phones out and try to record what he was saying, because it was like, what the hell did you say? Why isn't he playing? What? And that kind of also changed the rest of the press conference as well in a weird way. So there's probably a chance that like one or two of the people close to him, maybe reporters, like some of the the Lakers beat maybe knew, but it's, if they kept that under wraps throughout the weekend, they did a very good job of that, because I again, it just seemed like everyone was kind of shocked by that.
Now, I don't want to just single out LeBron, because Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis also didn't play, but Anthony Edwards was there and didn't play. And we didn't find that out until his game was finished, where he didn't get on the court for Kenny's team. He made it sound like he had told the league that they did know. I'm just wondering, because this goes back to having a reserve in Norman Powell available, who's already there, who was at the 3-point contest. And it just would have meant a lot for some of these other guys. And if you knew you weren't going to be available, then tap out and let somebody sub in for you. That would have meant the world, I think, to Norman Powell. It just seemed very poorly done.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak too much to what. Obviously, he knew that if he actually was able to announce it in time, the league would have found a replacement. Norm was already in. I don't think he left. I don't think he left San Francisco until Sunday morning, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, but I don't think he left Saturday night. I think he left Sunday morning. So at that point, like, that's not too late to stay an extra night, play in the game, get him a jersey, suit him up, throw him in the photos. Like, it would have been fantastic. I mean, and not just Norm, like Devin Booker was also pretty deserving. Domantas Sabonis was also pretty deserving. Like, there were a number of guys who could have filled in those Anthony Edwards and LeBron James spots. I just don't want to assume. I think maybe a couple of those guys were maybe hopeful to play. I could see Ant as maybe not wanting to miss that game, and just, every team kind of has the team's trainer, one of the team's trainers with the players, so they can kind of evaluate them and see how they're doing and get them ready for the game. But in Edwards' case, it feels like maybe he tried to go and just they felt the last minute just wasn't smart to even get him out there. But I might be wrong. Again, I might be wrong. I'm not. I don't have any knowledge on Edwards, but LeBron. Again, I just find it hard to believe that the last couple of years, he's been showing up Sunday morning or Saturday night, and then going to play in the game that night. So, or the next day, so Sunday night. So, I don't know. It was truly a very baffling and shocking moment. I will say that.
Lastly, for you, Tomer, as we move it forward and keep it Clippers centered with the conversation here, what did you make of the debut of Ben Simmons and that 20-point comeback against the Jazz heading into the break?
I'm going to be very honest with you. I did not have a chance to catch all of that game.
Oh, come on.
I do know they came back from a 20-point. You know what's funny? I actually was in the middle of watching this game. I'm in the middle of the second quarter right now, where they're making a comeback. I think they were down 50-30. They're making a comeback right now. But from a bit of what I saw of Ben, pretty much what you need from him, right? I mean, kind of a big guard who can defend, who can rebound, who can play make. Got to the free throw line and made, I believe, all 5 of his attempts. So that was great to see. But really, you don't need that much from him. You just need him. I think this is a perfect team for him now, because you have a James who can facilitate, play make a little bit. Norm, who's just going to get you a bucket every time. Zoo is just a force inside. We know what Kawhi can do. And even Bogdan is just able to go out there and score whenever he wants. So really, all they're asking to do is just be a big guard who rebounds, initiates an offense, pushes down court, just puts a little bit of rim pressure from time to time. And then defend, just defend with using his size and his speed. He's a very unique player. Again, like I think the NBA, I think you know this. The NBA is very situational. You got to be in the right situation sometimes, and that makes a lot of your opportunity kind of develop. Like you watch, you can see a guy develop very well in the right opportunities. And so I think this is a perfect one for him. Like he's played on a team that was really bad. He had back issues a couple years ago, so couldn't really play with Kyrie and KD. Now he's healthy. Now he's got the right pieces around him. And he's still only, 27, 28? Like, he should be in his prime right now. So his athletic prime anyway. So defending, playmaking a little bit, pushing the ball down the break. I saw like the very first possession he got, James inbounded to him and he pushed down the court within like 2 seconds. So that's all you really need from him.
Hey, speaking of athletic prime, who's the guy in the background walking around with the shirt off the entire time?
Oh,
here?
is that on? Oh, my camera's not even on.
My guy, I'm seeing it here on this side. I don't know if anybody else is.
That's my brother. My brother's here.
It's all good.
My bad. I didn't know my camera. I don't see anything here on my end.
The brothers Azarly. I've seen like some choppy video.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know it was on. My screen is black.
I don't know if anybody else is. I don't know why I'm seeing it. I've apparently hacked your laptop camera or something, Tomer, because I'm catching it. But I don't know if anybody else in the chat is saying anything about it. So.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I thought my camera was off. It says it's off for me. Is it
No
off
worries.
now?
Now it is off. Now it seems to be off.
Wow. That's dope. Very dope. I apologize for that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think yeah, that's I don't know how to follow that up.
All right. One last question about the All-Star game. Like, what were the parties like? Who did you meet? Who was best dressed in San Francisco? Any interesting interactions?
Yeah, so I mean, I got to speak with Darius Garland. That was one guy. Got to meet him at an event, and he was super dope. Gave me a nice little one-on-one, talked about Donovan Mitchell, stuff like that. I got to talk to Norm about his Skechers deal that obviously came together in the last couple of days. And he got to debut his specific colorway, the Understand the Grind colorway, which was very dope. Other than that, I mean, yeah, went to a couple of Adidas things where James, I think it was the first big one for James. James, Donovan Mitchell, who are the other two? I think Anthony Edwards and Damian Lillard. They all are Adidas athletes. They all got to kind of join together. It was the first time they had 4 big athletes at an Adidas event like that, and that was a big moment for that organization. Yeah, I think so. There was a nice little Puma event, but LaMelo Ball was not selected, unfortunately. I think they kind of expected LaMelo to be selected, and they had a whole pop-up shot set up, and then he just didn't get picked. So that was kind of wild.
He's doing the Isaiah Thomas. I met the criteria, but for some reason I wasn't selected.
Yeah. And then I think there were a couple of Adidas events, so it wasn't anything too crazy. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that was basically. I mean, you All-Star is kind of one of those events where you just go and see everyone. Like you just see all the players, all the other media members and everything. So like you get to see really everyone there. But it was just a cool vibe. Like you get to see everyone. Like you walk around with different guys and chat them up and see how they're doing. I think last year was more interesting because Indianapolis just had so few options as far as where you could go. Like San Francisco had so many different spots around downtown that you can go to, whereas Indianapolis is like you didn't really have that much. Now I will say it was 13 degrees and snowing in Indy, which was absolutely wild.
That'll limit your options.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't that much better here. It was like 50 and windy, which is awful. But no, it was really good. It was really good. I had a really good time. Made a lot of good connections, and hopefully kind of carry that off into the season, into next year. I don't know.
I appreciate you. Cool. Appreciate you coming on your day off. I want you to enjoy the rest of the All-Star break here before we get back to work on Thursday. But where can everybody find your work and your reporting with those exclusives you got over the weekend, Tomer?
You can find it on, Clutch Points, obviously. That's where most of my writing will go. Well, all of my writing will go. I'll probably put some social content on over the next couple of days. Yeah, other than that, that's basically it. My socials at Tomer Azarly on Instagram and Twitter. Trying to get a little bit more on Blue Sky, but I kind of keep forgetting to post there, but yeah. Other than that, I think that's basically it.
I don't know if your content is Blue Sky approved after your bro in the shirt with the shirt off behind you there. Like, to keep it on X.
Yeah. I honestly, my camera showed me that it was off, so I'm like, all right, like, what am I supposed to assume?
I don't know what it keeps going like on and off now. Even since then, it was off. Now it's back on. Now it's back on. Okay, it's all good.
Is it on now?
Appreciate you. Now it's off. Now it's off.
I got to get this thing sorted out. I can't be having these type of things happen. This is kind of weird.
Yeah, we don't need a Jeffrey Tubin situation or whoever that guy was.
No, not at all.
That wouldn't happen. That would not happen. Tomer, I love you, my friend. I know you.
He apologizes. He says sorry.
What's your brother's name?
Omri.
Omri and Tomer. Okay, right on. It's all good, Omri. Keep at it, my guy. I see you. Get to that 10% body fat. I'm trying to do the same.
He says get to that 10% body fat.
All right, Tomer.
Yeah, sorry about that, but thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Be good. We'll see you. I want to say soon, but we're not back at the Dome till March 5th. So
are you
enjoy.
Doing
No, come on now. I ain't sleeping with the enemy over there. I ain't a reporter like you that has to cover them. I will keep an eye on them. I will watch their games, but from afar. So I'll see you back at the Dome on March 5th. All right. Be good.
All right. Appreciate it, Adam. Thank you.
There goes Tomer Azarly and his bro. Appreciate you guys. This has been episode 136 straight episodes of Clippers Talk. As always, it's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money. I got a free promo code for you guys that gives new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Really, that's a lot. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description down below in this episode. Promo code LAC. Underdog Fantasy. Make picks, win money. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. We'll keep it away from the All-Star game. It's over. We're moving past it. Tomorrow's episode will be straight Clippers talk for you. But I had to bring up one more time how Norman Powell really got snubbed twice now. He should have made it to begin with, maybe 3 times. Then he should have made it as a reserve. Then he should have made it when LeBron or Ant were out. There were 2 spots open on Sunday, and he still didn't get in. So, yeah. I was a little bit upset about that. Check my Twitter feed at FollowAdamA for more. I appreciate you guys here in the chat. Unfortunately, the chat wasn't really working for me on my end, so I wasn't able to interact with you as much as I typically do here. Tomorrow, hopefully, that will be fixed. I love y'all. This has been another edition of Clippers Talk. Talk tomorrow.